Hi. First of all, thank you for considering Ask Maeve as your study tool. My name is Richard. I am the co-founder of Maeve and also a former university lecturer from Brussels. We have the ambition to help 10 million students by 2027 get better grades on their exams by preparing better. In this video today, I'm going to show you how to use our platform, which is called Ask Maeve, and how you can use it to study smarter, get better grades, and study also more efficiently. First off, when you log into the platform, this is the view you will see. You land directly on the home screen. As you can see here, you have your courses. I have 3 courses and I immediately see which one is the most urgent. Mathematics, for example, is tomorrow. This way, you don't have to go look through your own material or your own calendar to see when your exams are. You directly see it in Maeve. From here on out, you can upload your course material, which I will now do. I have a file called DNA in my biotechnology course. I select it. I can select the output language, and I can also select if I want a long summary, which I can use in terms of studying to study for the whole course, or I can select a short summary, which will help me in the short term, or which can help me recollect. I can select an existing course. I already had a biotech course on this account, but I will create a new one, Biotechnology 102, and let's say that the date of that is the 7th of March. I can now start processing. This should take around 30 seconds, so we will be back with you in a second. Once your document is uploaded, you see this page. Now, what do we see here? First off, we see a glossary. So what happens in the background is our platform will extract the most important terms of your document and will create a glossary list for you, meaning that you can just study these terms and definitions. Furthermore, it will also include a main summary, which looks like this. Here you have an overview of your topics, structured topic by topic, as well as images that are important to the course. For example, here we have a schema on the building blocks of DNA. Now, let's say that your instructor or your lecturer says that some parts of the course are not important. What you can do then is you can also edit the summary by simply deleting a section, for example. You can also mark in yellow, and you can also choose the font size or whatnot, and you can add stuff as well. So in case that your lecturer gives you the material before the course or before the lecture, you can already have this summarized, and then while you're attending the lecture, you can use your platform to add on to what the lecturer says. You can then save this, and you can even download it as a PDF. When we create the PDF for you, we will also get this in Ask Maeve styling, which you can then print out, and maybe while you're on your way to your exam, you can revise using the downloaded PDF. This looks a bit like this. It is both a concatenation of the glossary list as well as the summary itself, including the images and including your changes, such as the marking of this text. While we're generating the summary for you, we're also automatically generating an interactive mind map. We do this so that you know which terms are important or how your course is structured. For example, here we have Introduction to DNA, Structure and Molecular Scale. This is then divided into 4 topics which then have their own terms. In the future, this will be adjusted more so you can add on to your own subjects, or you can adjust some text. Now, once you have the summary, there's also something called flashcards. I will now generate some flashcards. I will do it in English because the course is in English. And I will also at the same time generate some questions. To generate the questions, you can choose to upload an example exam, which we then will use to cater your exercises that we will generate for you to the example exam to have very similar exams that very similar questions that you will have on your exam. For this course, I'll select 20 questions, and the difficulty for now, I'll do mixed. While we're waiting on this, I will also explain already a little bit how this works. The flashcards are already there. Let's say we have 3 modes for the flashcards. You saw it on the screen before. There's a standard mode, which allows you to just flip through the flashcards. Then there's also a learning method, which allows you to practice flashcards using something we call active recall. Meaning that in terms for you to remember a flashcard perfectly, chances are that you need to see it twice. So what we do now is, if you're in the learning study method, and I'll do it on full screen to make sure you're focused only on the flashcards, you can space to flip, and then you can select whether you knew it or you didn't know it. You can do this both via the buttons, or you can do this via the arrow keys. Now let's say that I knew this one. We see here at the top we have 77 unfamiliar flashcards. If I select one and I say I knew this one, it will move to learning. And then we can go through all 77 of these flashcards. If I select that I didn't know it, then it will stay in unfamiliar. Once I go through all these 77, we will have, for example, 34 here, and then we will have 33 here. In the second round, after we did all of them once, what we will see is that the ones that are in learning, if we go through those and we select that we know those, then they will go into mastered, and then the next round they will not appear until we've done all of them, or until we've mastered all of them, and then we can start over. That's something called active recall. Now, there's also a third method, which is called test. This is just if you want to test yourself. Here, there's no option, or there's nothing that will memorize or that will tell you when you've already seen something once or twice. Here you can just use the arrow keys to say if you knew it or you didn't know it. This will allow you to, right before the exam, quickly go through your cards again and just practice. Furthermore, for these flashcards, I think the ideal thing here is that you can use this to really use it for terms. After that, you can go on to the exercises. We now have 20 exercises, all based on this DNA document. In this document, if you select the solution, you'll also immediately get an explanation whether or not you were right. As you can see here, I was wrong, and then it tells me why I was wrong. Based on that, I can get it right the next time. If I would go through all these questions, more or less, you will see that these questions are here. They are divided into certain topics. If after all these questions I notice that one of my topics is a weak topic, I can simply choose to generate questions for a specific topic. So let's say that the introduction I'm doing very great on, then I don't need questions on the topic of introduction. I can just choose only these remaining topics, for example. Now, this is on the document level. Once in my biotechnology course I am done with the documents, I can then choose to generate either a summary on the course level. I only have one document here, so it will look exactly the same. And the same goes for exam prep. Now, what is exam prep? I can select multiple documents in one course, if I had multiple documents here. I can also upload an example exam from the biotechnology course, for example. What will happen then is, after you select the document and you upload an example exam, you will have the ability to choose some stuff. For example, let's say tomorrow you have an exam on biotech. It will take you 2 hours, the exam, so I want to try and mimic this as much as possible as for my exam tomorrow. So what I do now is I choose that the exam will take 2 hours. Tomorrow I have, let's say, 10 questions. I have 50% closed, 50% open, so I generate this. This should take also about 20 seconds. Here we go. So now we have the exam, which is 5 open questions and 5 closed questions. As you can see, here I have a question that is an open question. If I fill in all these questions and I do the finish exam, you will get feedback on this immediately. This will allow you to replicate the environment that you will have your exam in a few days or tomorrow as closely as possible to the real environment. That is the goal of this feature. Now, let's say that you also have some other problems you want to solve. We also have a solver. This one allows you for all kind of different courses or subjects to solve a complex problem. For example, let's say that I have a mathematics course and I want to know what the integral is of ln x dx. I can just ask this to the solver, and the solver will then explain to me in steps how this integral is solved. Here we see the final answer. Here we have around 5 steps to get to that answer. I can go through the steps step by step, or I can expand all. And if there is a step that I do not understand completely, for example, we have to do partial integration and I don't understand this step, what I can do is I can just ask it to explain it to me. Now on the right you can see that there is an AI tutor, which is a system which will help me to answer my question better. For example, this step was very difficult for me, and here we go. We have now selected to get more information. We can do this for every subject or course that we want to. To keep you motivated to use Ask Maeve, we also have a Pomodoro timer, which is a popular method for students to study in a certain kind of time frames. For example, you're studying 25 minutes. If we do the timer and if the timer expires, you will have automatically opened the break part. This means that there's a timer of 5 minutes where you can take a break. You can go for a coffee, you can go for a walk outside. By the time you get back, you can start a new Pomodoro timer of a focus time of 25 minutes. This will allow you to not need to use your phone for your studying, but you can do this all inside of our platform. Furthermore, to also for engagement or for fun, we have a streak which allows you to see how many days in a week you have been studying, especially closer to the exam. This can keep you motivated to make sure that every day you start revising. The goal with Ask Maeve is simple. We want to combine planning, understanding, practicing, and focusing into one intuitive platform. This way you spend less time organizing and more time actually learning. Ask Maeve is a platform that is built in the European Union and in the United States, since we take privacy very seriously. We have the ambition to help 10 million students by 2027 study better and make sure they are fully prepared for their exams. See the link in the bio for a discount code, and thank you for considering Ask Maeve.